What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my Draftkings MMA picks video for UFC Tampa. We have Joaquin Buckley going against Colby Covington. And yeah, looking forward to the last card of the year. We have a 13-fight slate. And yeah, fun card. I thought last week's card, UFC 310, was a very good one. I think this one is going to be no different. I think it's a fun card. I think it's a fun card from a DraftKings perspective as well. And I'm looking forward to breaking it all down. Before we do so, if you guys could, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All three of those things go a long way. If you guys do want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my DraftKings content, betting content, each and every week at the fighter stats, targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, prize picks content, lineup optimizer, and much more on dfsbythenumbers.com. And I do want to shout out Prize Picks here. Right now, if you guys check out Prize Picks using the code DFSBTN, you'll get a $50 instantly into your account when you play your first $5 lineup. Whether you win or lose that $5 lineup, you'll get $50 instantly into your Prize Picks account. So use that code DFSBTN. And with all that out of the way, we'll get into our fight. Doesn't go to decision lines. I do think we probably see a decent amount of decisions here. We are going back to the new gloves for the last and final time ever, hopefully. But we have Sterling Tokus minus 325 for that fight. Doesn't go to decision. And yeah, I think for me, it's probably Sterling or nothing here. He's 9,600. He is the most expensive fighter on the slate. I could definitely see a world where he goes out there, takes his time in the first round and a half, ends up getting a second or third round knockout and not quite paying off that $9,600 price tag. So that would be like the only concern. He is dangerous, though. He does have power. Tokus is very hittable. I think Tokus is a little bit chinny, so maybe it is a first round knockout, but my concern, if this fight does get extended, I don't think he's going to go out there and put up a ton of volume. Obviously, he's not going to wrestle, so not my favorite play in the world, but I don't want to ignore his knockout upside that he does have this week. So a very expensive fighter, but I think he should win by knockout. Just not really sure when it comes, and I think when it comes, that's going to matter here. Next, we got Vitor Petrino going against Dustin Jacoby. I actually think this fight goes the distance, which is crazy. Like minus 260 for the fight doesn't go right now. I think it actually potentially goes the distance. I mean, Petrino, not the best finisher at the UFC level, I don't think. I know he knocked out Modestas Bukauskas, but that's it. He took Antone Tricoli to decision. He took Tyson Pedro to decision, and even took Marcin Prachnio like 12 and a half minutes. So, yeah, I could see a scenario where Petrino does go out there and wrestle a little bit. I don't think this fight's going to score well, because of that. Petrino's very low volume. Jacoby does have good volume, but Petrino very low volume, and I think he's going to mix in takedowns here. I could see this being like a very slow-paced fight that does go 15 and scores very poorly. So this is a fight I'm probably going to actually stay away from for the most part. If anything, it's probably Jacoby at 7,100 as like a dart throw, because I think skill for skill, these guys are pretty similar, but Jacoby has looked pretty bad as of late, and I think the durability is starting to wane a little bit. So, but yeah, not a big fan of this fight from a DraftKings perspective, to be honest. Next, we have Michael Johnson going against Ottman Azaitar. So this is a fight where it's gross, but I think it's a fight that's very important. The minus 200 fight doesn't go to decision. Like, this fight should finish. The only concern, and I'd be all in on this fight if it wasn't for Michael Johnson taking Darius Flowers 15 minutes. I mean, that just doesn't happen, and it shouldn't happen. But Michael Johnson somehow, some way, took Darius Flowers 15 minutes. So maybe this fight does go 15 minutes. If it does, maybe it doesn't score well. But Ottman Azaitar hasn't been out of the first round in his entire UFC career. 4 fights, 4 first-round knockout finishes, whether he's getting a knockout or whether he's getting knocked out. So I kind of imagine this fight probably should finish in the first round and a half, just because Ottman Azaitar is about as kill or be killed as you're going to see. So, yeah, personally, I think that Johnson should not lose this fight, but the thing about Michael Johnson is this guy just drops the ball time and time again. Honestly, the least trustworthy fighter in UFC history. So I'll be playing both sides here. I think Michael Johnson at 8,700, if he wins, probably should knock this guy out. But if Ottman Azaitar wins, it's going to be a first-round knockout, and he's going to score very well. And it shouldn't shock anybody if Michael Johnson dropped the ball, because he's dropped the ball a million times before. So great fight to target. Tough to pick a winner, but great fight to target nonetheless. And then we got Joel Alvarez going against Drakkar Klose. Alvarez 9,300. Jakar Close 6,900. For me, it's Alvarez or nothing here. Big fan of Alvarez in his game, especially as of late. I think these two are at two different points of their career. I expect Alvarez to get a finish. This guy has 21 wins, 21 finishes. I think this fight finishes inside the distance. And I think he probably does finish Jakar Close here. So I like Alvarez, not going to really touch the close side much, if any at all. Next, we have our core plays. Speaking of Joe Alvarez, 9,300. Yeah, I just think it's a great matchup for him. I think it's a really bad matchup for Jakar Close. The thing about Joe Alvarez is wherever this fight goes, he's going to be dangerous. On the feet, has a ton of power. I think he has the power to hurt Jakar Close. And then in the grappling, he's very dangerous, very slick on the ground. I think he has the submission ability to get Close out of there on the ground, on the mat as well. So, yeah, I just feel like wherever this fight takes place, he's going to be live for that finish. And I think he gets his 22nd finish in a row here. So, love Alvarez, 9,300. Daniel Marcos, 8,500. I think this is a fun fight here. Good fight to target as well. But yeah, I like the Marcos side. There has been money coming in on him, so we're getting some value there at 8,500. He's now like minus 220, 230 on the money line, which I don't necessarily agree with, but yeah, I think he should win this fight. I think it could be competitive, but I just like the durability advantage of Marcos here, and I just think he has more tools on the feet. This guy can mix it up really well to the body, to the head, to the legs, like the striking. Adrian Yanez, I'm worried about the durability, getting knocked out by both Jonathan Martinez and Rob Font especially, just not the best look for me, so I wouldn't be shocked if Marcos actually got a knockout here. So at 8,500, I do not mind some Daniel Marcos. And then we have Billy Quarantillo, 8,400. Billy Q's a guy that I always like to kind of target on DraftKings. This is a guy that's going to go out there and set a hellacious pace, lands a ton of volume. The only concern would be he is hittable. He does eat punches with his face, but if he's able to get his game going, like if this fight gets extended, we could see Billy Quarantillo being one of the highest scorers on the slate at 8,400. So I like Billy Q. The recent form has me a bit concerned, a bit worried, but anytime this guy fights, I gotta target him and target his fights in general very heavily. I think it's a phenomenal fight to target here, this Billy Q, Cub Swanson co-main event. And then Josephine Knudsen, 8,800. Yeah, Knudsen's somebody I really like in cash games especially. I think she's nice and safe here. The fight goes to decisions like minus 500, something like that. She's not a finisher at all. I think she has one finish win and 8 total wins. But yeah, she's tough, she's durable, she's very good everywhere, but I think she's going to specifically have a massive striking advantage in this fight here. If she can stuff takedowns, like I think she's going to just put a pace on Piera Rodriguez. I think she can land 100 plus significant strikes here. I think those strikes are going to add up. So yeah, I like Knudsen here. I think she's safe. I don't think she has like a massive ceiling, nothing like that, like some of the other fighters. But I think in a win, like she can easily pay off this price tag with the amount of volume she throws across 15 minutes. So I like Knudsen, nice and safe play there at 8,800. Moving on to the tournament plays, the GBP plays here. We got Navajo Sterling at 9,600. Talked about him a little bit. Don't mind some Sterling. If he is able to get that first round knockout, could see him end up on the optimal lineup. If it gets to the second, third round, goes to decision, even probably not at 9,600. I think there's a lot of other options on the slate that have potential to score very well. But yeah, Sterling could knock this guy out in the first round. It all depends how he attacks his fight. Is he going to take his time, or is he going to go out there looking for that early finish? If he looks for that early finish, I think he gets it. Tokos is very hittable, blocks punches with his face. I think he's chinny as well. So yeah, I will be having some. I think having some Sterling would be wise here. Nothing to go crazy on, but having some Sterling would be wise. Michael Johnson, 8,700. Least trustworthy fighter in UFC history, but this is the fight he really shouldn't lose. I think he's much better, but yeah, it's sketchy, and it's sketchy with every single Michael Johnson fight. But skill for skill, he's a much better fighter here. The chin worries me, the age worries me, everything worries me about Michael Johnson. But if he's winning this fight, I think it could be by knockout or like a dominant decision. So I don't mind Michael Johnson. Joaquin Buckley, 9,000 going against Colby Covington. I'm definitely on the Colby side here more so than anything, but Buckley 9,000. If he's winning this fight, he's probably winning it by knockout. If this fight goes to decision, I don't know if he's winning a decision against Colby Covington. I guess it's possible. Maybe land some big shots here and there. But yeah, I think if he's winning this fight, he's probably knocking out Colby. And if he does that, he's going to score well. So I'm personally on the other side, but I think having both sides of this fight is definitely wise. And yeah, Buckley, not a bad play at 9,000 there. Next we have Ramon Tavares, 8,200. I think Tavares, is in a good spot here, I guess. I mean, the thing about Tavares is I like his boxing quite a bit. I do worry about his durability, but he's going against Davey Grant, who has some narrative issues on his side. He's coming off of a layoff. He's 38 years old at this point. This is a guy in Davey Grant who just had neck surgery, so I feel like Tavares is probably getting Grant at the right time here. And yeah, I kind of feel like somebody's getting served in this matchup. I think these two are going to throw down. I think somebody's potentially going out. So I don't mind both sides of this fight especially, but Tavares, I'm ever so slightly leaning him. Live dogs on the flip side, Davey Grant, he's a live dog, 8,000. I mean, this guy's fought the much better competition. If he comes in here not completely done, not completely washed, I think he is live to hurt and knock out Tavares, who's been knocked out in both of his losses. But again, the age, the layoff, the neck surgery, those are all things to be wary of when you're playing Davey Grant this week. But overall, I think it's a banger of a fight, and I think somebody's going down here, more than likely. Colby Covington, 7,200. I like Colby quite a bit. At this salary especially. I mean, Colby Covington is the best DraftKings scorer on the entire card and one of the best DraftKings scorers in the entire UFC. So anytime this guy's fighting, I'm going to be interested in him, and especially when you're getting 7,200. I know Colby did not look great in his last fight, but yeah, if he shows up, I think it's a very winnable fight for him, and I think not only that, if he wins this fight, he's probably the highest scoring fighter on the entire card, just with the way this guy fights, the 25 minutes to work with, the takedown upside, the control time upside, the pace he puts up. So yeah, if Colby wins this fight, if he's not completely done, 7,200 could look like a steal at the end of the day. So yeah, don't mind Colby at all at 7,200 here. Fernando Padilla, 7,600, probably my favorite underdog on the entire card. I think it's a very close fight first and foremost, but I do like him in this matchup against Sean Woodson. I think Padilla has all the finishing upside here. I think Padilla is dangerous wherever the fight goes. On the feet, he's long range, he has a ton of power, and then on the ground is a very slick submission game as well. So I think Padilla is not only live to win the fight, but live to finish Sean Woodson here at 7,600. And then last but not least, Ottman Azaitar, 7,500. He's taking on Michael Johnson, and maybe Michael Johnson does Michael Johnson things, and somehow, some way, he loses this fight. It wouldn't shock me, and it shouldn't shock any of you. So yeah, Ottman Azaitar, if he's winning this fight, I think it's by first or second round knockout, and it's 7,500. I don't think it's a bad look. Don't think it's a bad look. And then pump plays, honestly, not much sticking out for pump plays here, but Jacoby would be that guy, 7,100, just because I think skill for skill, they're very similar, him and Petrino. I'm not that high on Petrino, to be honest, but Jacoby, he just seems to be kind of being on his way out at this point. He's showing some decline in the chin, the durability. He's been dropped a lot his last several fights. He's looked off in a couple of these fights as well. But Petrino's like very low volume. I think Jacoby's going to have the volume advantage here, and Jacoby's not easy to take down nor hold down. So this fight could end up being fairly close. The chin that worries me of Jacoby, but if this fight goes the distance, we could be looking at a very close fight, and maybe Jacoby can even get the nod. So we'll see. Is it 7,100? Don't mind some pokes on Thurston Jacoby there. And then the fade is going to be Sean Woodson, 8,600. No finishing upside in my opinion. No wrestling upside in my opinion. I think there's much, much better options this week than Sean Woodson. It's going to be fading Sean Woodson here. And yeah, guys, there you have it. Those are the DraftKings MMA picks for UFC Tampa. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys could like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys are liking this week from a DraftKings perspective. Should be a fun card here. Fun card. Great way to end the year. And yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC Tampa. We'll talk to you soon. See you later.